Now I would like to invite a guest of honors of today's program, and he is Professor Dr. P. Subramania. Professor Dr. P. Subramania is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mangalore University. He is having more than 3 decades of experience in teaching, research, and administration. He did his MCom from Mangalore University in 1982, securing first rank with gold medal. Professor Dr. P. Subramania obtained PhD degree from Mangalore University in 1992 in the area of consumer behavior. He worked as professor, trainer, and consultant. He published 46 research papers in national and international journals of repute. He did postdoctoral research at Nottingham Business School, Nottingham Trent University, England, on HRD policies and practices. Professor Dr. P. Subramania also did a cross-national study of India and Britain under the Commonwealth Fellowship Scheme during 2001-2. He received an international award entitled eLearn International Award 2003 from Scotland, UK, for his best research paper on trends and status of corporate e-learning and Indian experience. He also received the prestigious Devang Mehta National Award for Best Teacher in Human Resource Management in November 2009. Professor Dr. P. Subramania is down to earth, ready to listen, and eager to implement. Welcome, Professor Dr. P. Subramania, on our show. Professor Dr. P. Subramania, today the occasion is such that we are looking for those leaders who can change the scenario which is happening today in the world and especially in India. And the main thing what one can say is the media, because media is the mouthpiece of any leader or any visionary. And if media is doing their duties perfectly, then the qualities of leader or the visionaries can be showcased to everyone. Unfortunately, in India, many of, I will not say all, but many of the medias have failed to do these duties. I am sure the new series which has been launched by Global TV in Hindi and English will try to give that positive aspect of the visionaries, of the leaders to the public at large, so that at least some change can come in the society. And in this way, as you have already heard what Dr. C.V. Anand Bose has spoken, and now we would like to know from you your views and your wisdomful thoughts on the launch of leadership series. Professor Dr. P. Subramania, please.
Yes, good morning to all of you. It's a media conference with Lal Goyal is always with a different touch and impact. That's my experience. There is no imposition of ideas, free and frank views being exchanged between Lal Goyal and the distinguished panelists without any fear or favor. So it means Lal Goyal's media conference is always following a wonderful golden principle that is nothing but principle-centered leadership. Principle-centered leadership is always superior because it is focusing only on the issues and not on the people or the parties. It's very impartial, and it gives and creates a kind of a level playing field to everyone being involved in the discussions. Just now, we were carefully listening to Dr. C.V. Anand Bose candid views and based on his lived-in experience. It's highly inspiring, thought-provoking, and highly absorbing in nature. Similarly, we have got Dr. Mukesh Sharma ji, Professor Dr. Oman Memon, and Mr. Tom Syriac. They're all wonderful people I have ever come across because they have proved their mettle in their own domains of expertise. This launch of leadership series is being characterized by 7 unique features according to me. The first one is authentic. because authenticity should be the hallmark of any such series. It is authentic, it means it's very genuine. The second one is it is impactful. It creates a kind of impact in the hearts and minds of all viewers with a sense of purpose, pride, and direction. The third one is it's insightful because you can dig into the deeper shell to know more and more about the less and less of those things that matter to us as leaders in our own field. The fourth one is it's highly inspiring because our job is to inspire people to stretch their capacity, to visualize. It means we must be able to envision, empower, enable, energize, enthuse, educate, enlighten, and then only they can excel and engage themselves in the task of turning out better things than the best. That kind of thing is highly inspiring. Then it is powerful endorsement value. This leadership series has got what you call inbuilt flexibility and also the value of powerful endorsement, as powerful as the medical endorsement, because it is being interacted with what you call the experienced people who will always endorse their views based on their lived-in experience. Then the next one is it is highly absorbing because it is never a harder nut to crack. It is being presented in a very, very meaningful, effective, and very simple manner. It can reach the larger audience in a very highly befitting manner. Therefore, it is highly absorbing in nature. Then finally, the seventh one is it is thought-provoking because it can ignite the real thing. We can definitely connect the plug so that electricity will flow, because all these ideas are really wonderful. So based on my own experience in my field, particularly in the education sector, I can tell you that leadership and followership are just like two sides of the same coin. One without the other is totally meaningless and atrocious. As a matter of fact, a leader must be in a position to influence the followers both constructively and positively. And leader must be a confessor, a wonderful confessor. As David Ogilvy talked about the confessions of an advertising man, he was very down to earth because you must own up the process and ideas. You cannot pass the buck to somebody else. Be a powerful confessor, then you should be a sounding board. After your followers commit certain grave mistake, there is no point in talking about it. There is no point in romanticizing about it. Much before they commit that mistake, you must act as what you call a sounding board. Therefore, they'll be having a kind of precaution. They'll be having a sixth sense, and you will be serving as a sounding board. Then I understand leader is always the first among equals. As the Vice Chancellor of Mangalore University, I am always fond of saying that as Vice Chancellor, I am only first among equals. This will spread a good word in the hearts and minds of my followers, my team members, because then only I can practice what you call my own style of leadership, that is democratic, participative, consultative, and inclusive. And I must always lead from the front. I should be a risk taker. It means I must be able to take a very planned, careful, mature risks so that I can make things happen. So it means in any environment, in order to bring about leadership effectiveness, three things are very, very important. I call them what you call three-legged stool. One is the individual as a leader with all leadership attributes or qualities. Second one is the quality and maturity of the followers. The third one is the situation. Sometimes leadership is nothing but the child of the circumstances. So it means it's a three-legged stool. Leadership effectiveness is nothing short of a three-legged stool: individual, followers, and the situation. And the philosophical or the spiritual side of leadership is nothing but do good anyway. In order to do good anyway, you must be intrinsically good in the first instance. Then only you can do good things in your life. So it means you as a leader, you need not do great things according to me, but you must be able to get people to do extraordinary things. That must be your leadership skill, or that kind of ambience we need to create. It means, according to me, change is not important. Sometimes we do bring about change only in some pockets of excellence. What we require is transformation. Transformation is several changes brought about in a parametrical manner so that you can maintain the kind of equilibrium which will definitely make things happen. Ultimately, it is not planning which will bring about leadership success. What I mean to say is that execution excellence makes a lot of difference. You have to plan, then do, then check or monitor, then you have to take remedial or corrective measures, remedial action. So plan, do, check, action must be supported by your willingness to execute things in a very meaningful, timely, and effective manner. I have come across 5 categories of people in this world. First category, those people who make things happen. A leader will always belong to this category. The second category, I call them intellectual category. Those people who think that they make things happen. Thinking is not doing. The third category, those people who watch things happen. I call them sightseeing category. The fourth one is those people who wonder what it happened. It's incredible here. It's amazing. So this kind of amazing will not take you anywhere. The last category, normally I come very heavily on such people, those people who did not even know what had happened. Then as a leader, I have also come across some 4 categories of performers in my 4 decades of experience in this education sector. The first category of performer is those, I call them super keepers. They will always exceed our expectations. The second category, I call them keepers, who will just match our expectations. Nothing more, nothing less. The third category, they are called solid citizens. Either they have got the capacity to perform, but they lack willingness to perform. Or they have got the willingness to perform, they lack the capacity to perform. Either of them is missing. But they have got the potential. Our job is to unleash their potential, unlock their potential. If there is capacity is missing, there should be capacity enhancement, capacity building. If there is willingness is lacking, we have to induce them, inspire them, motivate them. Somehow we have to win over their hearts and minds. So it means solid citizens are there. Then the last category, I call them misfits. They are mediocre people. They are not in a position to make the best use of the opportunities available, because as a good performer, super keeper will always create opportunities rather than chasing the available opportunities. Today, a performance-centric leader is always focusing on what you call outcome-based performance, outcome-based assessment. It is not the output. It is not spending hours together. It is not even burning midnight oil. It is not the hard work, but what makes a leader different is the smart work. Smart means, again, SMART, specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, relevant, and timely. So ultimately, the philosophy of leadership must be based on 3 critical ingredients. The first one is commonality of interest, or the identity of interest. What is good for you is also good for me. What is good for me is also good for you. What is good for both of us must be good for our institution. That is identity of interest. Second one is mutual trust, confidence, and goodwill. The third one is shared vision and determination to excel. Because ultimately, as a leader, I feel my 2 eyes are nothing but one is transparency, the other one is accountability. Because today, when we are creating leadership in our youth, we focus on global competencies and multicultural outlook. That's very, very important, because sometimes we have to swim in troubled waters, because today what we experience is white water syndrome. Turbulence is there, because unless there are challenges, there is no excitement for the leader. And a leader must always understand the big picture. Otherwise, you will suffer from what you call tunnel vision. You will not be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. That means we must always expect the unexpected, be an achiever, but you cannot be a winner all the time. Sometimes we must be prepared to lose the game so that we can learn from our mistakes, because ultimately sustaining leadership effectiveness is very, very important according to me. The biggest problem or the challenge is problems repeat, but solutions seldom repeat. And two enemies are there for a able leader. The first one is arrogance. I am the great, I can do it because I am the only one person on this mother planet, Earth. So it should go away. Egolessness is very, very important. I am only a zero. That kind of thing, that is arrogance. You must eradicate this number one enemy, arrogance. Second enemy of excellence is what you call complacency. Enough is enough. Chalta hai, chalne do. This kind of attitude, complacent attitude, will kill your leadership instinct. Then, as a leader, I must be able to have what you call courage to fail, confidence to win, and the conviction to succeed. And I must demonstrate what you call purity in heart and clarity in mind. Then only I'll be able to demonstrate my genuine intentions through appropriate and timely actions. That is what I understand. A clear vision inspires, builds trust, and gets results only when executed well. Therefore, normally as a leader, I listen to what people don't say. That's very, very important. It means I must always listen to my inner voice, and I must carefully watch my inner ethical compass for seeking future directions. Then as a philosophy, I understand 1% improvement in 100 different ways is always better than 100% improvement only in one way. Therefore, I have to be pragmatic. Then normally I am inspired by the famous prayer of Napoleon Nimber. It says, "Oh God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference." It means I should keep my windows and my doors open. Let noble thoughts come from all sides, but see that winds blowing from all sides should not unseat you. Be yourself. That means you will be a leader with a difference. So ultimately, that is what doing right things rightly first time and every time. We should be a role model. It means we should walk the talk, and we must always be a cheerleader. And unless we have got a passion for excellence, we cannot demonstrate the intended leadership effectiveness. That is what I wanted to say. I wish the best of luck for this launching of a new leadership series. It will succeed. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. P. Subramania, for your wisdomful blessings, I must say, for this new leadership series. And what Professor Dr. P. Subramania has explained, the quality of leadership, how he has seen with his 4 decades of experience in the education, he has seen how the things are required in a leader to control and to see that things properly to be executed, not only just a thought or not just a planning. One has to be a leader's quality is to see to it that it should be ultimately executed. And we must confess today that we are trying our best. The Global TV is trying best. Mr. Tom is trying his best to execute what things we, the society and the leaders like you expect from the media. We are sure that we will try and we will see to it that these things can come in ourselves. As you have mentioned, that we all should consider ourselves as a zero, not a hero. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. P. Subramania, for giving your very, very thoughtful, I must say, and very full of wisdom and full of practical knowledge which you have imparted today. Thank you very much.